Welcome back to this next installment of Pocket Change. And this time we're going to be looking at mapping people dynamics. Now, we're going to look at this through the lens of neuroscience. There are all kinds of things you can do here, just like mapping business dynamics. You can go with the business model or the business idea, or you can go with the Venn diagram. I think the most important thing is that you do it, that you sit down and you ask the questions and have the discussion with your team. Having said that, maybe it's good to walk on a path that's been walked on before. And some of this stuff from neuroscience is pretty cool. So let's take a look at it. It's called SCARF, and S stands for status. How do we protect people's status? And this could be in the kind of titles that we have, all kinds of things in a change situation. So you're going to change the organization, you're going to change the titles or the levels. You're going to take over. You're going to acquire an organization or merge with a new organization. And here, people's status comes under attack, and that can be very, very stress-inducing, even for those people from the very egalitarian countries who say, oh, no, 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 we're all equal. Who cares about titles? People do. So, how can you improve status? How can you make sure that you're either improving it or not actually hurting it? Well, part of what you can do is have public acknowledgement of what people have done. So, look over there. Look what Fred has done. He's been an important part of this company, and he's moving from this kind of position to that kind of position. Or he was heading up this department, and now he's going to head up two departments or half of that department for these reasons. Making sure that Fred is acknowledged as an expert or a contributor and that kind of thing. Where you have the opportunity to absolutely burn Fred to a crisp is in things like performance management or public critique, taking away parking spots. So I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but I'm saying you should really think about it. More often than not, you go into a change situation or a merger and acquisition situation, and you're going to use your performance management system as the lever to drive the right kind of culture. Well, good for you. That sounds like a really good idea. However, my experience is that either in the last 5 years, everybody in the department has been given an excellent rating on everything because the manager didn't dare to actually tell them what their real performance was, or we've completely forgotten to do them. And there are no performance appraisals. And you come in, and all of a sudden, our fictional character, Fred, is sitting for the first time in 5 years in a performance appraisal, and you're really giving it to him straight. Wow, this could be. So, again, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying that neuroscience tells us that status and protecting status is really important to human beings. So give it a think. The C of SCARF is certainty. How can we give people certainty? Well, we can stand up in the cantina on a table and say, hey, listen to me, this is where we're going, and this is what we're doing, and there's the dot on the horizon. Well, that's part of it. You can also give them KPIs, you can give them some sort of dashboard for the change. Here's where we are, and we're moving along. Updates, even in newsletters, is not a bad idea. But for these people, just setting clear expectations. This is what we expect of you over the next 6 months or until the end of the year. Sometimes that can be enough. And realistic guidelines. We talked in a few videos ago about the DICE model. And one of the things that is a big contributor to whether or not a change will be successful is the extra effort. And so are you just going to sort of load these people up with all kinds of extra effort, or are you going to let them get on with their work and contribute that way? So certainty, help people know what direction they are going. And any kind of lack of transparency, dishonesty, lack of predictability about what's going on will drive people crazy and hurt your change. The A in SCARF means autonomy. Give people autonomy. Let them make some of their own Choices. I add something here to the model. Let them get on with their own work. Don't burden them too much with sort of the esoteric strategic things that are sort of bubbling across the organization if they can just sort of get on with what they've been doing. So don't over involve in some ways, but if you do involve them, give them the opportunity to make autonomous choices about their future or about their compensation package, these sorts of things. On the other hand, micromanagement, constant pressure from above. We've acquired this company and we're going in there and we see all kinds of things that have gone wrong in the past, and all these things are coming to light, and we're really clamping down on this organization because we know we've got to get synergies out of it. We've got to make the whole thing work. We've got to integrate it with our systems, and we're really on top of it and pushing and pushing and pushing. And this can kill autonomy within the employees of in this case, the acquired company. So be very aware of the need for people to have autonomy, protect their status, give them some predictability and certainty, and let them make some of their own decisions, even involving them in the change. Bring them in and let them make decisions about the change. The R in SCARF is about relatedness. Who is in front of me? Who's behind me? Who are to the sides? Who's above me? Do I have one boss? Do I have two in a matrix? Where do I fit in the world? If you close your eyes and you think about your organization now and you think, who's close to me? Who's far away? This idea of relatedness, when that breaks, it's just like falling backwards into an abyss. Everything goes, your cortisol levels go up, and you think, oh, how am I going to hit the ground? Yeah. And so helping people understand how they fit within the web of the organization is extremely important. Now, you can foster relatedness by helping people understand the new setup, the new system, explain to them the new organizational structure and reporting lines and all this kind of thing. You can have social events. Yeah? So people can come and talk to other people and talk about the problems that they're finding, and talk about other issues, and understand, how do I fit again into what is essentially a new organization if you've been acquired or you've been merged, or even if it's just an internal change that we're going to have a different organizational setup, and whew, everything goes out. And social interactions, and I've used things called mindset management workshops, where going out in groups of 8 or 10 or 15 during the day, taking an hour, providing sandwiches and a Coca-Cola, and just talking about these things and getting feedback from how people feel. But just going to the meeting actually gives them a better idea of how they fit into the new system. One way to make relatedness completely fail is to not have social interactions, or to have a bunch of internal competition between departments. This sort of thing. Those should be avoided at all costs. So status. Think about their status. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do anything that hurts someone's status. Don't be all wimpy about it and say, "Oh, dearie me, they're gonna they're going to feel bad because now they only have a bonus of 20% instead of 50%. So what I don't want to say is, if it has something to do with status, run away from it and drop it like a hot potato. On the other hand, realize what you are doing, and that if it affects status, it could be important. Certainty, give people an idea of where they're going. Autonomy, allow them to take their own decisions about what's going on where possible. Relatedness, how do I fit within this system? And the last one is fairness. Now, we can mess up fairness really easily, and we do it a lot. We can have unclear communication. We can change the rules midway. Sometimes in mergers and acquisitions, of course, there are legal things that you can't say. There's a lot of stuff that you'd like to say, a lot of stuff that you really need to say for these people, but because of legal requirements, antitrust things, something outside, some external force, you just can't say anything. And that hurts. That hurts. And sometimes you just have to do the stuff that hurts. But know that these things do hurt, and you want to come across where you can as very, very fair, transparent about criterion for performance, transparent about why you keep some people and you might not keep other people, lots of communication, lots of openness and honesty toward people. Tell them the truth about what is going on. So, SCARF allows us to get, in a way, into the head. What might we step on and break if we didn't know about SCARF? We might step on status. We might not give enough attention to certainty and predictability with the change. We might not allow people to have enough autonomy to participate in the change or just get on with their jobs. And we might not really take into account how people feel in the relatedness aspect. You know, they've kind of fallen backwards, and we need to kind of help them regain that balance, if you will. And we've got to be fair. And it's not just enough to be fair, you need to be seen to be fair. And that's another aspect of that open and honest, candid, and forthright communication in a change. So I hope this has brought some ideas to mind. This is a great way to discuss the people dynamics in a change with your team. Use the SCARF model, and a link to the Neuro Leadership article on SCARF will be in the description. So for your practical tool, we've got this. And this is just a picture. And if I do this with my clients, they love it and they take it, like this one, and they use it instead of their strategy presentation because they can, talk through it so well. If I don't do it, nobody wants to do it. I try to get people to sit down and draw, but you can see here, it's stick figures. It's the simplest drawing you can imagine on a flip over, but for some reason people don't do it. But it does speak to people. It does have a good effect. And if you want people to talk about what their aspirations are, what their problems are, how they see the strategy, what it feels like, all of those things together, well, you might just draw it. So let me just walk you through this picture here. So at the top, you see the old company, and of course, it's like an old choo-choo train, an old steam engine, and well, there it is, and there are people on there, and they don't look too happy. And then some of them are getting off, and as they're getting off, they're saying, well, do we belong here, and what's going on, and all that kind of thing. And so to my left here, we see some clients saying, well, I don't know if I really like this new thing. And the clients who aren't really sure about what we're doing. And on my right, we've got a conductor who is saying, hey, come on, get on to the next train. But some experts are there, and they wonder if they belong. And then, here in the middle, we've got some kind of different service models where we can sort of buy a ticket. And as we get on to the cool new bullet train, we see that we go from the old ABC company to the new XYZ company, and there's room here for managers and people, and we've even got a little bit of big data. We've got our suitcases, we've got our luggage that we want to take, and that's big data and specialists and this kind of stuff. Well, I mean, this is fine. And I guess we should say at the bottom here, we've got the competition, and they're still in an old train, but they're passing us. So time is, and in this way, you can kind of see the dynamics of what's going on in people's minds. Now, actually, from the same customer, and I drew this with a little bit more care, but from the same customer, they were for many years kind of worried about customers, kind of help. Oh, here comes a customer. Oh no, what will I do? And it was, sort of like the scream. And they wanted to move from that to actually helping a customer. So we moved from help a customer to Help a customer. And how are you going to do that? Well, you see these two guys here and they're interacting well with each other. And the one guy has a case, a suitcase of baggage. And what's in that baggage? Well, in that baggage are all kinds of things like service and price. And it's a way of saying this is how we're going to position ourselves for this big change. So that's your practical tool. It just get a good set of markers and go flip over and say, okay, guys, what's this like? Is it like a boat? Is it like an old painting? Is it like a bridge? Is it like a glacier? What's it like? And then just start drawing and use little stick figures and simple little sort of icon faces as you go along, and ask yourself, what underlying issues is this bringing up? What should we think about this? What other sorts of I don't know, what other sorts of pictures might we draw, and just bring these together. And indeed, this client did use this to replace their 75 slide strategy presentation they were going to be making for their change. So it's an idea. I have a hard time getting people to do it if I'm not the one actually drawing. I think people are shy. But if you can get over that shyness, you might have a really good tool here. So good luck with that. And that'll be the end of this version of Pocket Change. Thanks for watching, and until next time.